Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we'll be comparing the Ford Ranger Raptor to the Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison. This is truly a battle of the titans when it comes to mid-sized off-road pickup trucks. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Carl Malone Ford and Chevy here in Park City for giving me some time with both these trucks. As of me filming this video, both of these are currently available for sale, so if you're interested in either, definitely reach out to them. Link to their websites in the description down below. Let's get into it. So powering the Colorado is a turbo 2.7 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 miles per gallon. Power outputs are 310 horsepower and then 430 pound-feet of torque. Now powering the Ranger is a turbo 3-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed, so it's got 2 more gears than the Colorado. Fuel economy is 17 miles per gallon, so a little bit better on that. And then power outputs are 405 horsepower and then 430 pound-feet of torque, so more horsepower, but the same torque. Now, before we move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So both of these trucks are top dog in their lineups, but they're also very different. So the Ranger Raptor is all Ford out of the box pretty much, whereas this is a partnership of Chevy and AEV. So what I mean is we've got bumpers from AEV on the Colorado, a bunch of skid plates added as well. Whereas this is just all Ford's design on the Raptor with the bumper. And when it comes to front end design, I kind of lean towards the Colorado. I think it looks just a little bit more aggressive, but I think that both the trucks in general are really cool looking. Now, a huge difference is gonna be tires. So the Colorado, because of the AEV package, has 35-inch tall tires. The Ranger Raptor has 33-inch tall tires. They both have 17-inch wheels. And look at the difference with the design. So there's the Ranger Raptor. I think those are cool looking. These, I think maybe a little bit cooler. They both have kind of like wider fenders and then big fender flares, as you can see here with the trucks. And this is cool with the little venting there on the Ranger Raptor. Now the Ranger Raptor just has these side steps, whereas with the Bison Colorado, we've got rock rail protection, so a little bit more practical there. And then look at the sides there on both the trucks. That looks so cool. Now there is a big difference with suspension. The Ranger Raptor has coil suspension. It's got live valve Fox shocks. It's kind of hard to see the whole system back there. But yeah, it's got an active system, whereas the Colorado has leaf springs. And then it's got Multimatic shocks. It's a multi-chamber system, but it's not active like the Fox shocks. And then you can see that we also have a Jounce bump stop from Multimatic as well. It's supposed to help out with damping. Now here's your side profile on the Colorado, really aggressive with those 35s, and you can actually see the spare 35 there in the bed. That is one downside with the Colorado when it comes to bed space, is you do lose quite a bit because of the spare tire, but you do have protection from the factory. But the upside is you don't have a spare tire underneath here, so your departure angle is improved, and then you've got these beefy recovery points and everything. Again, AEV bumper just like the front, so that setup's really cool. And then here's the side profile with the Ranger Raptor. Again, really cool looking. Doesn't look quite as aggressive because, again, those 33s, but the Raptor logo, that is definitely cool. Now, this actually doesn't have anything when it comes to the bed from the factory, which is quite interesting. And then we do have the spare tire mounted underneath the truck with the Ranger Raptor. I will say the Ranger Raptor is winning the exhaust tip game because you've got the 2 out the back here versus the singular there on the Colorado on this out the side. But there's a quick look at the exteriors. Now this leads us inside, quickly showing you guys the rear of the Ranger Raptor. You've got nice trim here on the door panel, and then the seats, you can pull them up for more storage. But you've got the cool red accenting on them. I think it's pretty fun overall. Not a ton of space because, again, it's a mid-sized pickup truck. And if you take a look at the Colorado, it's a similar story in terms of the spacing here in the back. Different design theme with the seats. Not suede like you have with the Ford, just a little bit different. And then this leads us to the front of the Ford, where you can see, again, nice soft touch trim here. You've got a bunch of modern amenities like memory seats, for example, blind spot monitoring, payload 1387, pretty solid. Raptor there on the front seat, which is pretty cool. These seats are very comfortable, so that's a big plus for the Ranger Raptor. And getting in is pretty easy. You got to step up. There's no grab handle here, so Kind of gotta just lift yourself over. Push button start. Full digital gauge cluster here. Really nice setup. And then pull this closed. Solid. Raptor there at the bottom, and then I like the stitching here, and then it's perforated on either side. Paddle shifters, by the way, on the back for that 10-speed automatic transmission. And then this does come with a 360 camera system, which is a nice feature to have. Now, something that I do not like about the Ranger Raptor, gotta put that back in the park, is the whole off-road setup. So you got that front camera there, and the diff locks and everything are in the screen. It's fine if the screen's working, but if the screen ever breaks, then that's a little bit of an annoying situation. Your off-road cruise control is also in the screen. But what is nice is the driveline selection, everything is not, and it does have a 2-speed transfer case, 4-wheel drive auto. It's got all of that, and then you can see here for the little kind of like pulling up the off-road page, which I think that's fun. And then just like the F-150 Raptor, you can customize stuff like the camera doesn't want to focus on that. There you go. The exhaust, the suspension, the steering, and all of that. It has that just like an F-150, so it's solid. Now this leads us to the MSRP. This particular one stickers for $57,215. Something to note is that most of these Ranger Raptors are still going for over MSRP, so like you can find it for that MSRP price, but it's definitely a lot more difficult getting one of those for MSRP compared to one of those. And speaking of one of those, let's quickly take a look at the interior of the ZR2. Really cool trim. Again, memory seats, blind spot monitoring, payload comparison. 966, so this has quite a bit less payload. The AEV stuff adds weight. You know, like the embroidery there on the headrest, that is probably at least 100 pounds. I'm kidding. But yeah, nice trim here on the seats. And same thing, no grab handle, which is annoying. But full digital gauge cluster. Shows a bunch of information, make it show off-road information, all that, which is fun. Close this quickly. Now this does have a 360 camera system. I think it's superior to Ford's. Yes, I get it. There's a truck behind me. It doesn't want to let me click. It has like underbody cams, just better resolution, I think. And then this actually has ventilated seats. The Ford just has heated, so a little bit of improvement there. They both have, you know, front and rear locking diffs, but this has selectable buttons. You don't have to dive into a screen for it, so that's a plus if you ask me. But then you do have to dive into a screen if you want to turn on the lights. Modern cars. Anyways, driveline select. We do have the same exact setup where you've got a 2-speed transfer case and you've got drive modes. A little bit less customization compared to the Ford. Like the Ford, you can literally customize the exhaust node, whereas this, it's just kind of like generalized drive modes, so a little bit different. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is a cool interior. This kind of has more of a rugged feel. That definitely has more of like a sports car feel. This one stickers for $66,000, so it's quite a bit more. But like I said, easier to find these at MSRP compared to the Ranger Raptors. Now let's get to the exciting part, and that is taking both of these out and seeing which one of these super mid-sized trucks performs the best. Ranger Raptor. We're gonna start with this and then we'll drive the Colorado second, because Ford's kind of the big name in this. ZR2's newer, right? In terms of a nameplate for off-roading. So we'll see how the top dog does, and then we'll see if the top dog is no longer the top dog afterwards. The second you pop into the Ranger Raptor, you can just instantly tell how sporty this feels. This person's going so slow. Yep, just keep on coming through. It just has this like tight wound sporty feel right off the bat, like with the suspension and everything. It feels like a sports car. That's one of the best ways, and just Raptors in general kind of have that feeling, but the Ranger Raptor especially, so it's the smallest out of the bunch. And this V6 it's a cool powertrain in this truck. In the Bronco Raptor, it's kind of lackluster, but in the Ranger Raptor, that weighs significantly less, and being a mid-sized pickup truck in general, it's a really cool powertrain. It sounds great, great power delivery. Not the most economical, but I don't think people buy trucks to be economical. Suspension's amazingly comfortable. It looks like they just redid this road though, so not exactly the best test, but still, it's it's nice. It's not too busy or anything like that. So I think they've done well. What drive mode are we in? We're just in normal. I'll pop into sport in a little bit. I do like the drive mode select where you twist the dial. It's fun. It's definitely fun. And you know, wind noise and all that's pretty minimal. So like from a daily driver side of things, it's gonna be a good rig. There's a little bit of noise up front, but there's no sunroof, which I've kind of discovered that sunroofs add noise, quite a bit of noise. If you don't have a sunroof, it decreases the amount of noise that you get quite substantially. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to the end. I usually don't go this far, but there's a little roundabout. I just want to see kind of the handling there. Seat's really comfortable. I think that the Ranger Raptor is probably going to win in the seat side of things. They're just a little bit softer. I mean, they don't have the cooled function, which is a little bit of a downside, but yeah, just a little bit softer overall. And that's kind of a normal thing with Ford, where Ford generally has the most comfortable seats in any segment that they compete within. Yeah, I do hear a little bit of wind up here. It's not terrible, but it is noticeable. It almost sounds like a paper bag rustling up top. Plastic bag, rather. Be a better description. And you just get this low grumble. It's a really cool sound that this makes. So we're gonna pop into the sport mode here. It's gonna make things quite a bit more aggressive, which is of course what you want with a sports truck like this. Yeah, throttle response is just immediate. It's really cool. And here's what I'm talking about with the handling. The steering is just very precise. It's actually really nice. Yeah, I love the handling. Yeah, very sporty. Very, very sporty. I'll stop my turn signal on. Whoops. Yeah, and the power you get out of this is, it's not like gonna knock your socks off like a sports car would, but for a mid-size pickup truck, this thing has some get up and going. You get a little bit of turbo noise, and the V6, it doesn't drone. And something to note is the transmission tuning with this. So I'll pop it into manual mode here. Significantly quicker than what you're gonna see with Chevy. Yeah, just a really, really fun experience with the Ranger Raptor. So to cap things off, the Ranger Raptor has a very sporty, and obviously this is an off-road truck, but very sporty feel. So sports off-road truck is the way that I would describe the Ranger Raptor. Let's pop into the Colorado and see how it compares. ZR2 Bison. A little bit of a different setup. Cooled seat function's nice. Let's see how this thing performs. Very floaty with the suspension. Right off the bat. Good power. Pretty good power. Oh, this is butter. 35s and these Multimatic shocks, just buttery smooth. Yeah, within the mid-size pickup truck segment, definitely the most comfortable by a long shot. It just floats down the road. Now, Chevy does make seats, they're a little bit, they're not uncomfortable, they're a little bit harder. So that is something to note about the seats. But definitely had much worse than this. At least they have cold function, right? Not too much wind noise. There's no sunroof with this one. Or actually, yeah, no, there's no sunroof for this one. But there's not a lot of wind noise up there. Oh, the suspension on this is so nice. That's, I think, the thing that's the most exciting about this is the suspension. I mean, the bumpers and the skid plates too, obviously. If you're gonna take this out into the wilderness, that's always nice as well, so that you can make it back, get over crazy obstacles, right? And the torque on this is really good. I mean, you just kind of like lightly get on the throttle. It's definitely not a high horsepower engine by any means. I mean, it's high horsepower for a mid-size pickup truck, I guess, but when you compare to the Ranger Raptor, a lot of people will compare this to. Yeah, it's not on the same, not on the same planet when it comes to horsepower. And Ford just released their performance tune that jumps the Ranger Raptor up to 455. Chevy's gonna have to do something, put a V6 in this to get those performance spires. Now, something that's interesting is this is doing the thing that I remember in my Gen 2 Raptor. I'll click in the front end every so often. The shocks are kind of warming up. It's an interesting thing that certain vehicles do. The new Gen 3 Raptor and then the Ranger Raptor and stuff, they don't do that with the shocks. See how the handling is with this coming through. Yeah, definitely a lot more truck-like. A lot more truck-like. Steering's lighter too. It's all kind of a big difference. Yeah, it feels very floaty and very truck-like. Power's good though. So yeah, the ZR2 Bison still has that. It has that Baja-like feeling of a Raptor, but it's not quite as sporty. It doesn't have that same planted, like, hard edge sports truck feel. It's more traditional floaty truck. So kind of like, you know, Toyota Land Cruiser is another vehicle that has that kind of floaty feel, for those of you that haven't experienced one of these. Or this is kind of like a Gen 1 Ford Raptor in a way. Not so sharp at the handling, but floaty with the suspension. That'd be another good comparison if you ask me. But overall, I mean, this thing drives so well. It really does. It's just so impressive how comfortable this is. I mean, you could, if you blindfolded someone, put them in this, you could convince them this is a luxury car. Seriously. I don't think you can do the same for the Ranger Raptor. The Ranger Raptor is just with the noise, which is good sound from the engine, but just the overall noise, even the wind noise and everything in that, and then just how it's firmer, right? That helps it handle better, but it's firmer and everything. It doesn't quite have the same edge that this has in terms of comfort. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole segment right now, because it's very interesting. I feel like the segment's pretty unique overall, which is good for us, where we've got, like, if you just want to go on like a Saturday trip with the boys, it's like Ranger Raptor is great for that, where you just go super fast through the desert. Whereas if you want to go for a weekend camping trip, this would be so much better in terms of the comfort and everything that has going for it with crawling and all of that. So it's cool that there's different trucks depending on the uses that you'd have for them. At least I think it's cool. So let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know if you go Ranger Raptor or ZR2, but even though they're competitors, they're very different trucks in terms of what they're targeting audience-wise. I'd say this is leaning more towards overlanding. The Ranger Raptor, you can overland with it, but it's leaning more towards, what do you call, weekend warrior, where you just go out, tear up some dirt, and then go back home.